In today's video, I want to share with you my favorite tool for understanding the Bible. Now, this is a tool I use all the time, and I kind of am giving up one of my secrets, so I hope you use it well. And that tool is an Interlinear Bible. It's the perfect tool to take the original language of the Bible and understand it even if you aren't fluent in Greek and Hebrew. Hey, I'm Pastor Josh, and this channel is Understanding the Bible. My goal is to help give you tools that you can use to understand the Bible so that you can read it and know more about what it means and what it says, and most of all, so that you can apply it to your life. Today's tool is Interlinear Bible. It's not the best tool for understanding the original languages. You see, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, and the New Testament, it was written in Greek. So the best tool to understand these is to just read these Greek and Hebrew scriptures, to read them in the language they were written in. The challenge is it takes many, many years of studying the language to be able to do this well. So if you've never studied Greek or Hebrew, the tools of original language Bibles just are not going to be helpful. If you studied a couple years, it's still not going to be helpful. You're not going to be able to pick one of those up and read it and understand it. And that's where the Interlinear Bibles come in. They're a tool that lines up the original language with the English translation. This means you can follow along and look in a passage to see what it's saying. So I want to break that down for you. First, I want to explain how to get to an Interlinear Bible. So I'll share with you a couple ways to do that, including one free one that you can use today. Next, I'm going to explain when to use Interlinear Bibles and what they're good for. And then if you're looking for examples, I've got a lot of examples posted in the comments so you can see this in practice in some of the Bible studies I've already done. So let's dive in and first look at how you can do this not on a computer, but using a regular physical Interlinear Bible. And here we are at Amazon.com. I've just searched for Interlinear Bible, and as you can tell, there are quite a few results. So what you'll be looking for is you're looking for a Bible that says Greek English Interlinear. That's the exact type that we want. And here's an example right here, and this is the ESV. So let's click on that. You can see it's got what we want. It's Greek English Interlinear. That means that it has the Greek as the main language and the English translation on the line above that. And then ESV tells us just the translation. This is a great choice. It doesn't matter that much whether you use the ESV or something else because you're going to be looking at the actual words, but ESV would be a fine choice. And then here it just tells you which actual manuscripts they're using. Here we've got several different types of Bibles from this publisher, so let's kind of look through the different ones and see where Interlinear fits in the mix. So up first we have the Greek English New Testament. This is just the standard Greek version of the Bible as written. It's kind of what you saw earlier. Next we have the Greek New Testament Reader's Edition. And this has some additional notes and resources to help you as you're translating. It may seem helpful, but I don't recommend it. See, I think it's going to slow down the learning process. This is only helpful for people who are learning Greek or Hebrew or have studied it a little. But truthfully, I think you should either go to a more difficult one, like just a regular Greek New Testament, Hebrew, Old Testament, and use that to actually study hard and learn. You're going to learn faster. Or go ahead and move up to this next one, which we're about to talk about. And that is what we're looking at right here, the Greek English Interlinear. This is what I'm recommending, a Greek English Interlinear. The last option we have here is the English-Greek Reverse Interlinear. And a reverse interlinear is just like an interlinear, but swapped around. Instead of having the Greek with the English translation, instead it has the English with the Greek above it. I think this is not very helpful. There are sometimes this can be helpful for looking at words. The problem is it ruins the grammar of the Greek. And so it's hard to say what the Greek is actually saying. The only time a reverse interlinear is helpful, in my opinion, is when you're trying to just find out one word. So if you're doing a word study or you're looking at what is this word that's being used, A reverse interlinear will get the job done. But as a tool to understand what does the original Greek, what does the original Hebrew say, a reverse is too confusing because it messes up the grammar. My suggestion is if you're going to get a hard copy of an interlinear Bible, make sure you get a regular interlinear. So that's going to be Greek-English interlinear. Avoid the reverse interlinear. That's what you've got to look at if you're trying to buy it online. But the easiest way to do it, and the way I use, this is where my secret technique comes in, is using online. It is so easy, it's actually a little embarrassing. So if you're looking to find the interlinear text, here's what you do. Go to your search engine and then just type the passage you're looking for. Let's say John 3:16. And then interlinear. So if you search for this, the Bible passage plus the word interlinear, you're going to find it in your first result. Look at this right here, the first result. You notice this is BibleHub.com. That's what I'm using, and we'll look at that. But let's click on this and take it over here. And so here we are. We have got this passage, and you can see we've got John 3:16, and this is what an interlinear looks like. See how easy it was to get to? You could also get to that if you just went to Bible Hub and you clicked on Interlin for interlinear right here. So if you were to click on that, it would pull up the Interlinear Bible and you could search. But for me, I find it fastest to just type in the passage with the word interlinear and click on your first result for Bible Hub. It's always going to come up first. So that is how simple it is to find it. It's just the easiest thing ever. Either way, buy a physical interlinear Bible or just search for the passage and the word interlinear, and you're going to be using an interlinear Bible. But that raises the question, how do you actually use it? So let's see what's involved with this. Let's jump back over here to Bible Hub, and you can see there are several main components. So starting at the very bottom, we've got the part of speech. So these are all grammatical notes, and some of them are really strange. If you haven't studied Greek, this may not be very helpful to you. I honestly don't use this. Up next, we've got the English. So the English is right here below the text. So we have the English word. And so this is what you would be reading to read along in the sentence. Above that, we've got the Greek word. So this is what's being translated. You can see this is the biggest word in the line. If you don't know the Greek alphabet or the Hebrew alphabet, that is no problem. There's a handy transliteration using English alphabet right above it. So we've got right here, so you can see this says hutos, and then right here it's the same thing, hutos. And then last of all, we've got a Strong's number. And a Strong's number is just another practical way of organizing this. So there's Strong's concordances, Strong's dictionaries. It's just a tool that you can use to look up that word. There's two main parts of this that I use, the English and the Greek. The English is essential for me to understand the word. Like, I can't really follow this sentence very well without it. And then the Greek, either here or here, is going to be helpful for me to know what specific word is being used here. If you're not sure what a word means, or if you want to break it down further, you can click on either the Strong's number or the word itself to see more information. So if we click on this hutos for thus, we can come on over here. This is really helpful because we're not just looking at the English word thus. We're looking at the specific word that was used in this sentence. So there could be several different Greek words that all have the same meaning, and we're looking at the specific one from this passage. You can see we've got a lot of information on this page for this word. We've got concordance entries, so we can come over here and see the different examples. We've got additional entries where the word is being used in different ways, so kind of conjugated in different forms. And then we've got a lot of different passages that are using the word. So we could click on these to go read that passage, or we could jump over to Bible Gateway or somewhere and look up that passage in context. And that's the gist of what an interlinear Bible is. But how do you use it? When is this good? Let me start by saying what it's not useful for. This is not useful for translating the Bible and finding new meanings. Listen, if you're using an interlinear Bible, we are just not able to come up with some new grand interpretation of Scripture. That's not where our language level is at. It's a difficult task to translate and look for new meaning. What we're doing is we're trying to understand the meaning that other translators have already done. So we're getting a little closer to the source material and we're sorting out things. So if you ever find yourself saying, hey, I'm reading this text and I see something in it that nobody else sees, you're not doing it right. Don't do that. Instead, we're just looking to use this to bring a little more clarity, not to come up with new translations or meanings. There are two main times that I use this a lot. The first is when I'm looking at a passage and I'm just a little unclear on what specific word is being used. So let's say there was a passage that said something about love. Well, there's many different words for love in Greek. So I may pull this up to see which word is being used. You may run into this with other things as well, where you read the passage and you're a little unclear on what it means. And so it's really helpful to just pull it up in Greek and you can kind of see it and you can see the word and you can say, oh, okay. So this is what the translator is translating. This is where they're coming from. That's very helpful. The other way that I find this really helpful is when I'm comparing two translations and I don't know why they're different. Most of the time, if you were to compare two translations, they're going to match up and you could see maybe something like the NIV or NLT. It's going to be a little like looser and less formal. But something like the ESV, it might be the structure might be a little off. It might be a little harder to read. And so you can see, though, they're translating the same thing. But sometimes there's a difference. One seems to be saying one thing and the other something else. How do you find out what the original text is saying that led to these two seemingly different interpretations? Well, that's where an interlinear is really helpful. When you pull up an interlinear, you can actually see the word that's used, and then you can look at different examples of that word. This process is going to be really helpful for you to see why translators did what they did. The point isn't to see which one is right. The truth is, if we're using Interlinear Bibles, we don't have the skill to evaluate which translation is better. No, what we have the ability to do with this is to just follow both translation teams' process. How did they go from point A to point B? And when we do that, we're going to understand the text better. So there you go. That is my favorite and my most secret Bible study tool. I've shared that with you and I hope you can put it to use. Hey, let me know in the comments when you do. I'd love to see you try it out and then let me know how that process goes. If you got any questions, let me know that too. Either way, if this has been helpful, please hit that like button. That's a big help to me and I appreciate it. And go ahead and put this to practice. This is an amazing tool that allows you to connect with the original language of the Bible at any skill level. So give it a shot. You can do it and you can understand God's Word a little bit better as you dive into it a little deeper.